Alright, hey guys, welcome to this session by Great Learning. My name is Anirudh Rao and I'll be your instructor for this session on how you guys can learn Python step by step. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we actually go ahead and begin with this session, do head to the chat box and just type in a quick yes or a no. If you guys can see me fine, if you can hear me fine, if you can, if everything is working the way it's supposed to, just head to the chat box, just quickly type a quick yes so that I have confirmation that things are, good to go and we can get started with this session, right? And guys, while you all do that, it's a beautiful day. Thank you so much for tuning in from wherever you're tuning in from. Make sure to put down all of your comments, in the chat box. I'm monitoring everything here using my mobile phone. So, it'll be more than a pleasure to answer all of your questions in this particular domain. Right, guys? Okay, so I have Arpit, Naga Ganesh, Uma Sharma, a lot of you all saying yes. So perfect, guys. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Welcome to this particular session. This is going to be a really fun session, especially for all of you all who are looking to get started with this fantastic programming language called Python. Right? Now, guys, before we actually go on to take a look at the agenda, let me take a minute of your time to guide you about this really wonderful venture we have here at Great Learning called as Great Learning Academy. Now, Great Learning Academy is a really popular place here at Great Learning that you guys definitely should be a part of. Now, let me tell you a bit about Great Learning Academy, right? So, this is a place where you guys can come through, get access to, multiple courses free of cost. You can enroll into these courses for free, sign up for free. At the end of the day, once you complete a course, right? Now, we have 200 plus courses that you guys can choose from. You will also get a free certificate of completion. Now, if you think that is the advantage, we have multiple different programs here as well. For example, take a look at the career path selection. Right now, this is a fantastic thing in my opinion, because at the end of the day, all of you all who are tuning into our live sessions want to take away a good amount of knowledge, I am sure. Right, for example, now Python is something which is really popular in the field of data science. So let's say you're looking to become a data scientist. Right now, I'm not just saying that you have to become a data scientist, but if you're looking towards it, if I click on that, you will see all the wonderful details that is needed for you, right? How many jobs are there in India? What's the average salary like? How many learners are enrolled into our courses? All of these are job ready courses, right? So you get placement assistance, personalized mentorship, certificates from top universities, detailed curriculum, and of course, hey, you'll be learning through these PG programs and specialization courses. You're going to be learning from the top faculty, right? World-class faculties across the globe. So you can find out what people are saying about it. But then to get to this level of expertise, it's highly vital that you guys have a good amount of basic knowledge to start your journey. Right now, this is where all of our free courses come into the picture. You can see that all these courses are put in order. Right now, there's 1 to 15 courses. Again, all of these are free, so you guys can use this to get your foundations done, to get your basics correct, and then once you finish all of these, you will definitely be interested more into the platform. Right now, we have some optional courses as well. As you see, we have a lot of courses here. Now, if I quickly go back to the home page, there again, if I keep scrolling down, you can see that our courses are usually either beginner oriented or intermediate courses or advanced courses as well. Now, it's available in multiple different languages. As you can see, for example, we have a Python programming here in Hindi, and at the same time, guys, all of these courses are taught by subject matter experts. So we are trying to align everything that the industry wants and to bring it into the highest quality learning material possible for all of you. Also, I really hope that you guys take a look at Great Learning Academy. Now, at the end of the day, learning things, getting a certificate of completion is going to help both for your knowledge as well as your resume, right? So there's a lot of ways you can reach the app. greatlearning.in/academy is the easiest way. Of course, you can download the Great Learning app as well. It's available both on the Play Store, and of course, for all the people who use Apple devices, it's available on the App Store as well. Right, guys. Now, since a lot of you all are tuning in from, again, guys, do welcome to this session. It's a wonderful session. We're going to be learning a lot about Python. But guys, can you quickly head to the comment section and just type in a quick yes or a no if you guys have subscribed to the Great Learning YouTube channel yet or not? Because if you subscribe, there are a lot of advantages. As soon as we put out this video, or every time we go live with these highly interactive and informative sessions, you guys will be the first ones in the world to know that we have we're putting out a video, and there's so many things. We have quizzes, you can participate with a lot of things with the Great Learning YouTube channel, and you can learn a lot, right? So guys, quickly head to the comment section. Do let me know if you guys have subscribed or not. If you haven't, do take a second to subscribe, and while you're subscribing, hit that bell icon, because that is where you get all these important notifications, right? That's really an important part that all of you all tend to miss. If you do that, for sure, like when we put out these really nice videos, you will be the first ones to know. Right, guys? Perfect. I think it's high time we can begin with the session. I see a lot of people saying yeses. So guys, thank you so much for subscribing. I really hope with all the content that we are putting out here that you guys can make full use out of it, right? Perfect, guys. Here is the agenda for this session. This is going to be a 1-hour session where we're going to be discussing how you guys can learn Python step by step. Python should come as no doubt to you all that it is the top programming language right now, right? I am sure that you guys already know this. But then there are certain reasons that we have to check out, about why should you even learn Python. There is C, there is C++, there's Java, there's a million programming languages out there. Why is it that Python is the most popular one? Why should you learn Python? Now we're going to answer that question to begin this session. The second thing is, now to learn a programming language, especially a programming language like Python, you will quickly need 3 or 4 skills which are not directly related to programming, but it is definitely related of how you should approach a programming language as well. In that case, we're going to check out the skills that is required, and we're going to take a look at some important libraries in Python. Now, for people who have tuned in, who might know that Python has a lot of libraries, you should also know that Python is extremely popular because of its library, right? It has thousands and thousands of libraries, and you can do whatever you want, and there is a library in Python that will make your life a lot easier. That's a very common saying among us Python developers, right? Perfect. So we're going to check out some libraries that you guys can get started with really quickly, and of course at the end, I'm sure you all are very curious about the developer's salary, a Python developer's salary. The numbers are really interesting no matter where you are in the world right now. India, USA, United Kingdom, Germany, no matter where you guys are tuning in from, the salary numbers are really good, guys. So make sure you stick till the end of the session, because we're going to be discussing this, and of course I'm going to be giving you guidance about how you can become a thorough expert in Python. So I hope the agenda for today's session is clear for everyone. So without further ado, before we dive into the first aspect of our agenda, let us do a quick did you know, right? Now, during this period of lockdown, during this period of work from home, learn from home, whatever it is, I'm sure all of you all are either binge watching TV shows, or you guys are looking for some sort of entertainment to keep you up to date while you're at home, right? And I think the popular streaming services we can think of is Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube is a great place to watch documentaries, and of course learn from amazing channels such as this one. It's an interesting thing that you have to find out is that Python is used by these streaming services. Netflix uses a ton of Python, Amazon Prime uses a ton of Python, and right now we are watching this on YouTube, right? YouTube is also using a lot of Python to recommend this to you. Now, for all the people who have clicked on this video, right, you were the one who voluntarily clicked it, but was there a suggestion where YouTube said, hey, you might want to check this out? Or sometimes it's going to ask you to, it's going to give you a little notification that says, join the session, there's something live going on by Great Learning. Now, why does YouTube think that you should watch it, right? Even YouTube understands to a certain point where it has started recommending high quality learning material for all of you all. So that's one really good example. The second thing about Python that you might not know is, this is a very common question that we get. Was it named after the snake, right? There's a Python snake. There's a snake called Python. Python, I don't know how it's pronounced. But right, there's a snake. Now, all of the people who think that it is named after a snake, it is actually not. So the co-founder, the founder of Python basically named it after a TV show. The TV show was called as Monty's Python Circus. That was a circus. That was a TV show, and the word Python there was actually lifted up from the TV show, right? That's such a fascinating thing to know. The third point I think should be very clear for all of you all, right, guys? Because when you think about when you literally think about Python, or if you're ever having a conversation with a colleague or with a friend about a programming language, about Python, it will always lead to a conversation about data science. Am I right, guys? Because this has happened 9 out of 10 times for me. The discussion starts about Python, but it ends with data science. Now that is the case because Python is the number one preferred language for data science. Now guys, how many of you all are here to learn Python and that you're trying to align your learning with respect to data science, right? Head to the comment section and just put a quick yes, or just put your favorite domain that you're trying to look forward to with Python. Do not worry if it is not data science. You can do a ton of other things with Python. We're going to check that out in a second, right? Look at the fourth point, guys. The fourth point is very interesting here because as you already know it, if it's the top programming language in the entire world, everyone wants to use it. If everyone wants to use it, it is creating thousands of jobs across the globe, right? As we already saw in our Great Learning Academy page, there is thousands of openings for all varieties of developers out there right now. There is always more number of job openings than the amount of proficient people applying for it these days. If you think that there's a small gap in the demand supply, right, there is always a constant demand. Now you might think, hey, I only have 1 or 2 years of experience, but the job is asking for 3 or 4 years of experience, but then you have all the skills that's needed, that is mentioned in the job description, then I think you should apply for that. Because right, sometimes they do drop that clause which says you have to have this experience. If you have enough skills to show that you're fit for that application, you guys will be considered. So it's a huge advantage. We're going to discuss about this in the salary aspect of things. The last point, high paying jobs with constant requirement. Now guys, I want to keep a little bit of a curiosity here. I want to make sure that you guys are curious as well about the Python developer salary. Usually in the market, the lower averages go somewhere around 4-5 lakhs per annum, but the way the salary trends are growing, it is absolutely fantastic because you can double triple the amount that I just mentioned, and it is all achievable by a fresher, right? So this is something that you guys definitely should check out. Okay, so I have a lot of people replying. Python for IoT, for data science, healthcare. Guys, that's absolutely amazing. For the person who said healthcare, I think it's Sirisha. Well, that's an really amazing thing to bring the world of healthcare together with the world of programming. In fact, all those years back, my personal reason for actually starting with Python was exactly this. I wanted to see how we can bring the world of medicine, how we can bring the world of computing together to see if it works. That is what kicked off my interest in all of these programming languages and all of that. So that's an amazing thing. Right, perfect guys. Now we're going to take a look at why you guys should consider learning Python. Now, Python is popular, we already know this. Another thing that you guys have to know is it's the world's #1 programming language. Perfect. But then why is this the case, right? So when you say something is world's #1, it means that a lot of people are searching for it. That is exactly what we can prove with our search results on multiple search platforms. For example, if you go to Google, if someone types in learn Python or Python tutorial or something like that, there's a lot of articles that you'll get. Now, this is what is being done by if hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people every single day, right? So when so many people are going on to be it even on Facebook, there's multiple Facebook groups or Google search where they're saying, hey, I want to learn Python. Google also understands that, okay, there is something going on with Python which is being very popular, so it starts recommending and showing more of Python stuff to you. So it works both ways here, right? But coming to the point, you really should learn Python because it is showing an amazing trend chart in a way where it is creating a lot of jobs, #1. #2, all of these jobs that are being created, the salaries of these jobs are amazing. So you will find multiple domains that you guys can go to if you learn Python, right? For example, in fact, since I am a data guy, I love backing up everything I say with respect to data, right? Now, as you can see, right from somewhere around 2004 to 2009-10, Python was getting a bit popular. It was plateauing at this stage, but then something happened in 2012. The entire world wanted. I think that is when data science exploded, to be honest, right from 12, 14, 2016, 18, 19, 20, the curve, as you can see, the interest of people, it is just going up and up and up right now. It's a fantastic thing to know that there is a constant upswing, right? Even though there is tiny up and down here, but what is the average, guys? What is it that you're seeing? You're seeing that there is a trend here. Now, I have learned one important thing in the world of information technology or IT as we call it is that whenever there is something trending, if you jump on that trend and if you ride it out to the end, either there is a really wonderful job waiting for you there, or you're getting an amazing salary hike just because you learned that skill, right? That is true everywhere across the world. So I just wanted to show you this to prove that you guys can work towards this as well. So I have one question from the ideographic guru. He says, great learning, can I register for this course? I am extremely beginner. Of course you can register for we have multiple Python courses on Great Learning Academy. Ideographic guru, make sure you check out Great Learning Academy, enroll into our courses. You can get started with all of these for free, even though you are a thorough beginner. Now guys, this session again is kept in mind all of you guys complete beginners, absolute beginners. So that's why I'm taking it really slow. I'm not trying to show you programs and all of that, but you have to understand why you have to learn Python even before learning it. So that's an important thing that we're going to cover. Right now, I asked you a question saying, are you guys learning Python for data science or any other domain itself? Right now, why I asked that is because Python is used literally everywhere in multiple different forms. If you want to talk about web development, right, creating websites, maintaining the backend, all of that, right now the most popular candidate there is JavaScript. But then Python has multiple libraries like Flask, Django, and multiple others that is literally changing the world. And now people are thinking, hey, should we use JavaScript? Or do you think it'll add value if we move to Python? That is how big Python has become really quick in the world of web development. In the case of big data again, right now, big data talks about data engineering, how you can manage a lot of data in a distributed computing environment, having a stable pipeline and all of that. Again, guess what? There are libraries here that let you do it all really, really easily, right? For example, PySpark is a fantastic library. And then we have game development. Now, guys, do we have any gamers in the house here? For all the people who have tuned in, do we have any, gamers who are joining in? Because if you guys are gamers, or even if you play a simple mobile game to pass time, you have to understand that Python also is extremely popular in game development. In this particular field, there's again libraries like Pygame and all of that, where you can build games like in a very simple fashion. You don't have to write a lot of code, and you will only be impressed at the end of it. You'll be like, okay, wow, so I didn't write a lot of code, but the game looks like, it looks pretty good for a beginner, right? Perfect. The next domain is another entirely different domain, which is which is governing our world today. It is user experience and user interface designing. Right now, this matters a lot in social media, guys. Now I am sure all of you all are on social media in one way or another: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all of these things, right? Now there, why do you think that every time you feel like picking up your phone, there's a good chance you just check your social media really quickly, or you're just opening it, you're passing some time there and all of this? Why do you think this is happening? One unconscious thing is that you really like the user interface of what's going on, right? Of course, you're going on Instagram for the pictures, for the people, everything, all that is cool. But what is making you use Instagram as a platform itself, right? Because it has this really nice user interface that makes you feel comfortable with being around people. Maybe if you guys are introverts. In fact, an introvert told me this. She was a user interface designer, and she herself told me that, hey, this is having a huge impact on people who might be really shy to go on social media. So see, it's having a huge impact even on the most consumer scale. And of course, guys, we really have to talk about data science here, because Python, as I told you, when someone thinks about Python, they always talk about data science at the end. It is really something very, very interesting. I mean, of course, I am a subject matter expert in data science, so it's always fun to see the conversation go there. But then Python is so much more, and data science, I believe, is a major part of it. But then, of course, guys, there's so many things that you can do. So you don't have to force yourself down the data science route if you don't want to. There's a million things you can do, and that is the biggest advantage of learning Python as a programming language, right? But then, when we start to talk about you guys learning the language itself, I think it is very important that you guys have to understand a few things here. I have 4 points, let us quickly discuss. The first point is that it's an interpreted language. Now, what I mean by an interpreted language is, for example, for all the people who may or may not have used coding here, guys, you would have seen a piece of code, right? You know what code looks like. It's usually 5 lines, 10 lines, 100 lines, and all of that. With an interpreted language, what usually happens is the computer understands whatever you have typed line by line. So if there is a mistake, it will run. Maybe let's say that you have a mistake, you have an error on line number 10, right? So it is going to run everything absolutely fine until line number 9. And when it sees the error, it's like, hey, there's an error, please fix it. So it will not say, hey, I will not run this at all. I will not run line number 1 because there is an error at line number 10. Now, if this is the case, imagine if you have a program which is 10,000 lines of code. There is an error on the 10,000th line, the last line. If your program says, sorry, I will not run until you clear that error, that happens with other compiler based languages like C, C++, but Python is kind enough to take you to that place where it says, okay, I'm going to execute until here, but please fix the error, right? Now that makes it very easy to learn the language itself. For all the people who have a question saying, you're an absolute beginner, how difficult is Python to learn? I think Python is one of the most easiest programming languages to learn, at least in my opinion right now, because the way you write code with Python, it doesn't feel like you're coding. It feels like you're having a conversation with your computer in a bit of a structured fashion. Literally, that is it. So for all the people who are confused about what programming language that you guys have to pick up, your first programming language especially, I highly suggest you guys pick up Python, right? Now look at the third point. The third point I've mentioned, something saying that it's built for dynamism. Now when I say dynamism, the world is moving towards dynamic web pages, the world is moving towards dynamic web apps, and all of these concepts which you may or may not have heard. Now, the neat thing here is that this concept of us looking to bring dynamism to every single domain, there is a lot of future potential. And in fact, in web development, dynamic sites, dynamic pages are being used probably for 5 to 10 years now, and we probably do not find it until we start spotting if it's a dynamic page or not, right? Now at the end of the day, when you think about the last point, open source, yes guys, you really do not have to pay anyone to use Python, right? Python is open source, it is free for all, it is developed by coders to ensure, these guys are making sure that we use Python to the best of our abilities. Python drives some of the most interesting systems in today's world. Sometimes in the case of flying an aeroplane, there are chances where Python has a direct impact of the autopilot system. In the care of healthcare systems as well, if there are critical healthcare systems, earthquake warning systems, all of these safety critical equipment, Python is sitting there somewhere in the loop working a piece of code. It might be a tiny piece of code, but it has a huge impact. People use Python there because they realize it's stable, it will work the way it is supposed to, and it is easy to program in as well, right? Perfect. Next, we're going to discuss some things quickly, guys, about why Python is really popular. It has a huge library of, basically a huge library. If you want to do data science, you have like a million libraries you can use. Do you want to do data visualization? You have a lot. Do you want to do data analysis? A lot. Web development? A lot. So, if you have a problem, if you're using Python to solve that problem, you have a library to help you solve it. That is the most amazing, fascinating thing here, right? The next point then we talk about is the community and how easy the syntax is to read. First of all, the syntax part of it, yes, it is literally like talking English. If you can understand English, if you can talk English, I will guarantee that you can, if you put in the good amount of time required, you can learn Python fantastically well. Right? To talk about the large community, I think it adds so much value for you to understand that not only you guys, right? Now guys, we have 134 people joining into this session. You have to understand you are a part of millions of people, millions and millions of people who are learning Python or helping others learn Python as well. In that particular case, having this open-ended community where you're welcomed no matter who you are on a most beginner level is a really, really nice thing I love about Python, right? Now the last point is strongly typed language. When we say strongly typed language, now guys, head to the comment section and tell me if you have used or learned programming language such as C or C++ or Java in your past. If you have, quickly type a quick yes in the chat box. I'll tell you why. In C or C++, whenever you have to put down something called as a variable, you have to give the data type like int a equal to 5. That is what you're telling the compiler, saying, hey, I have a variable called a, it is an integer, I am putting a value 5 inside it. You have to manually say all of that. Now in Python is simple, a equal to 5, done. Python understands that whatever data you have put in is actually a number. It will do it automatically for you. So no need for you to explicitly say, hey, I am putting in an integer. Python says, dude, don't do it. I am intelligent enough. I know what you're putting. You just please put the values, right? It's a fantastic thing to know that it's a strongly typed language. It will make your life a lot easier. All these data type confusions are gone. Your code becomes a lot less to type, and it is just really fun. Even for a person who doesn't know Python programming, you can look at a simple piece of code and guess, and you will 90% guess correct of what's happening in the program there. That is how simple Python is, guys. Right. Okay, perfect. So we have a lot of people who know the basics of C, C++, JavaScript. Okay, perfect. Superb, guys. So you already know, some of these interesting things that govern the world of programming, right? So you might not be an expert in those languages, but I think that you guys know what we're talking about. Perfect. Now, guys, we have come to a very, very important section where we're going to be discussing some of the important skills that are needed to learn Python. Now, why is it that I'm specifically telling you that these are the skills you have to have for Python? Well, I'll be honest with you, you can use these skills for any other programming language, or in fact any other concept in the world of information technology as well. But since we're talking about Python, I have to see, skills are something you can talk for hours and hours, right? I can give you 25 skills and say you have to have this, you have to have this. It doesn't add value. So to make sure that we're keeping it really concise and that this is a good amount of information in a small amount of time, I think these four are the ones you guys should be really concentrating on. These are like the things you have to keep at the back of your mind while you're learning the language. The first thing is to have a data-oriented approach. Now, see, Python is a programming language which is just like any other programming languages being used in the real world to solve some problems. When you're solving problems, you will have the actual problem itself. You will have some data. So you use the data to solve the problem. In that case, sometimes it so happens where you have to think about the data. You have to understand what the perspective of the data is, right? That is why I've mentioned data-oriented approach. So you have to take a look at a small piece of data and you have to guess, saying, hey, this is what we are going to do with this piece of data. Or you're going to have to say, hey, you know what, this is the piece of data that we have, and I think that we can do something really interesting with it. That thinking process, right? You need to develop that. There is a good chance you might not have that kind of out of the box thinking or the data oriented approach that is required right now. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, I am confident in all of you all, and I am sure that everyone who's watching this video can build this process while you're learning the programming language itself, right? That is why I thought I have to mention this first for you all. Now look at the third point. We're talking about logic building skills. This is where I can give you the biggest tip of learning a programming language. Whenever you're learning a programming language, usually if you have ever learned it in your school or college, they say you focus on the logic first, right? Now there is a good reason for that. If you're really good with logic and if you can understand why and how the way things work, be it forget about syntax right now, right? Syntax is when you start typing in the actual code. You might do a mistake here or two, and then Python gets confused about what is this person doing, correct? Even before you get to that, in your mind or on your paper, if you do what we call a pseudocode, as in the code which will not work directly, but it is giving you the solution on paper, right? So that is an approach. Trust me, this is a very important approach that will help you land jobs. In interviews, they will make sure to check if you are thorough with respect to your data-oriented approach, if you have good out-of-the-box thinking, if you can build logic really, really quickly, and of course, the fourth thing is how well you can learn. Now, guys, thank you so much for everyone that is here who have tuned into this session. As I am aware, you guys are all here to make sure you can get the highest quality of learning material possible, and that is exactly our goal here at Great Learning. So if you're liking everything you're seeing on your screen right now, and you like the way we are going to teach here, and of course we're teaching, guys, do take a quick second to like the video. You liking the video will show us a lot of support, and it will make sure that we understand you guys want more and more more of these videos, right? Perfect. So guys, quickly, point number 4 talks about how you can have the ability to learn more and more as soon as you go on to get your job, after your job and everything, right? Programming languages are like, if you have friends who are doctors, they say the learning never stops. I think the same should really apply for Python programming also, because sometimes down the line the learning to one extent is not going to stop. You're going to learn little by little by little, and it's going to keep adding up. Just that you will become so comfortable with it, you will not feel like you're learning or you're putting an effort to learn anymore, right? Think about playing your guitar or something. Probably the first day you picked up your guitar, your fingers are hurting, you cannot play a song continuously, you feel sad, you feel demotivated and all of that. But if you constantly practice it for 1 or 2 months, you can definitely play your first song, you can play your second song. Literally the same concept here in Python as well. First few days, first of all, let me tell you, it will not get difficult if you use structured learning material like what we have here at Great Learning. Even if you of course, I'm not saying you have to learn from Great Learning, there's many places you can go on to learn, but if you do not keep it structured, then you will have a bit of difficulty playing your favorite song, let me say, for the first 2 months. That is literally the analogy I can give, right? So guys, perfect. I really suggest you guys work on these skills. These are not something you sit and practice on paper, but these are the things you have to keep inside your mind, right? Perfect. Now, getting started with Python. Guys, we have 145 people joining us. Welcome. This is going to be a fantastic step-by-step guide. Now, as I told you at the beginning of the session, we're going to be discussing a step-by-step guide. Guys, here is the step-by-step guide. Now, I want all of you all to really concentrate. Now, some of you all who already know a programming language or who know a bit of Python might know some of these steps, but I highly suggest you concentrate, because this is a step-by-step guide that is, made sure to be aligned with the industry itself. So it's really important that you guys pay some attention here, right? Perfect. So guys, step number 1, learning the fundamentals. I think this is really important for every one of us, right? Think of it like a building. If you just see, Python is a language where things will become so easy at the start. You will just feel like learning more without touching the concepts in depth. You look at it and you'll be like, hey, I know this. Even if you're a complete beginner, that is the advantage. That is why everyone wants to learn Python. It's really easy to learn. The important aspect that you have to think about is how strong is your foundation as and when you go up, right? I bet your elders, your friends, your colleagues, someone would have told you in your life, if your foundations are not strong, it is very difficult to grow up. The same thing here. If you do not know the foundations of Python programming language, you have to understand how the language works, why Python works the way it does, understand the basic syntax, understand how you can use Python in an effective way. Now, if there is a coding challenge, there is not one code which will solve the problem, right? You can have 5-6 ways you can solve the problem. Out of those 5-6 ways, one way might have done it with 3 lines of code, the other guy might have done it with 300 lines of code. So you need to know that somewhere you have to be efficient as well. So to work on your efficient side of things later, especially in step number 2 and later, you need the knowledge of your fundamentals, guys. So I've been told by many of my juniors that, hey Anirudh, this is a bit of a boring step, we feel like, because you feel like you know it, but once you start closing your laptops and starting writing code or something, then you'll realize, oh okay, so I need a bit of practice. Make sure you guys are doing that. Yes, it is okay to get to a point where you have to open your laptop again and learn something and solve the problem, but do it. That is what will the skill is what will definitely help you get a good job, in my opinion, right? Perfect. Okay, so Treat says, let appreciate the efforts. It's not easy, guys. Thank you so much, Treat. Means a lot. Dheeraj says, really like the way that you're explaining things. Well, thank you so much for your kind words, Dheeraj. I hope you're having a lot of fun alongside me as well. Now, I absolutely love teaching all of you all, as always. Now, we have a lot of regular people who keep joining us as well. For all the new people, welcome to this session. We are about to discuss the top steps that you guys should use to learn Python. Step number 1 was learn the basics. Step number 2 is an even more important one. Step step number 2 talks about what it is you want to do. Now guys, with step number 2, you have to ask yourself a question here. You're not going to ask anyone saying which programming language should I learn. No, you're going to ask yourself a question. You're going to say, okay, so what domain do I want to learn and use Python in? Do you want to do data science? Do you want to do web development? Do you want to do game development? What it is, find one of your favorite domain and completely start concentrating on that. Because if you do not do that, there is this very famous saying, jack of all, master of none, right? I'm not saying you guys are all jacks or anything like that, don't get me wrong. The point here is, if you just find 4 or 5 different things, you will not be able to find time to concentrate. Now I'm sure you guys are either in college, you're doing a job, or you're looking for a job or anything, right? So it is very, very important that you know that time is of the essence. You have to use your time really well. So find your favorite domain and work on it. When I was learning, data science was my absolute favorite domain to go to, because when we were learning, data science was still in the hype, right? So when we were learning data science, like people were like talking about, hey, there's a domain called data science, it will become the next big thing. Well, guess what? It is the biggest thing right now, at least in my opinion, right? So I am glad that I could align my learning with respect to that, and that is what I'm helping you guys do as well. Perfect. Now guys, with step number 3, it becomes important. Now step number 3 is one of the reasons why people usually quit programming languages is data structures, right? Now guys, head to the comment section, you tell me how many of you all have gone to an interview where you're asked data structures, right? Data structures is the most favorite thing to ask for an interviewer for a technical role, is something which is very commonly seen. Even though you might require data structure, not require data structure, if you're going for an interview, they will ask it. Something like this, right? It's usually a common thing. It's funny to see it, but yes, data structures are, it's literally how you tell the Python programming language how it is supposed to store your data. Now it is a really nice way if you understand how things work. There is list, there is tuple, there is dictionary, there is sets. Each of these have a really specific purpose in mind. Now you might say, okay, so why did the creator do this? Well, you can actually find out why the creator did it when you start working on projects. You will know that, hey, in this place I have to use a tuple, in this place I have to use a dictionary. So that thought process that comes subconsciously, right? Not unconsciously, sorry. Subconsciously, once you find out, hey, this is what I require, your brain already knows why you even learned that data type, why the data structure, right? So guys, data structures is a very popular thing, especially if you're looking for a job. Even if you're learning, right? Learn all the data structures with Python. At the starting, you might get confused. What is an immutable data type? What is a mutable data type? Why can't you add more? Why can't you remove? All of these questions will come. I understand. But make sure you're take a note out of it, right? List, tuple, dictionaries, sets, mark what all of those means, where you can add data, where you can't change around data. Make a note of it, have a table or something like that, because that will help you a lot. So guys, I hope step number 3 is very clear for you all. Oh, I have a nice comment here. Hasim Khan says, but they only ask basics and very basics. Hasim Khan, now there is a reason that they're asking you the basics. What is step number 1 that we spoke about? Fundamentals, right? Now sometimes you will feel like, oh, okay, I know this concept, let me skip it. If you skip it, that will be the question that you're gonna be asked in your interview, and you will be like, oh, it's a very simple concept, I should have known this, right? Now there is a reason they are checking that as well. That is exactly the reason why I said in step number 1, have your foundationals good, right? I hope that answers your question. Perfect, guys. Coming to step number 4. Step number 4 is somewhere, it's an interesting step that I don't see a lot of people do, but whenever I've seen people do step number 4, they've gone on to do amazing things with Python. It's about how you learn new things, right? Now, first of all, you might be a person who says, okay, I want to do web development with Python. I love it. Let me get started. You learn it. Fantastic. But sometimes you'll feel like, okay, so what is happening in the world of data science or data analytics as well? If you can learn something of that, let me learn as a hobby or something like that, right? So once you learn new things and once you have that curiosity to learn new things, there is a good chance that, I've seen people completely jump from one domain to other in Python itself, and they're probably being paid 120, 130% more salary than what they were doing just because they learned this new domain, right? Now, to find out all about these things, how the industry works, what everyone is looking for, what do you think is the most important point here, guys? You have to talk to, experts who are doing this for a good amount of time. Now, notice this. Whenever you have joined and tuned into any of the live sessions that we have here at Great Learning, I am sure you guys know that at the end of the day, you're getting really high quality learning material here on YouTube for free. Right now, I'm seeing all of your comments here. Guys, we do have Mahantesh Patil. Please do not spam the comment section. We have your comment. You say I do not have any programming language. How I need to learn? That is exactly what we are discussing right now, Mahantesh. But please do not spam the comment section. Right? Okay, so I'm sure someone from the moderation section will take a look at that. Guys, coming back to the most important thing, when you join to our sessions, our subject matter experts will make sure to align your learning with what is needed in the industry. If your learning is something like this, if the industry is asking something else, it's a waste of your time, let's be honest, right? So to make sure you are getting the highest quality of learning material, again, I have to say, make sure you join into these sessions, right? It is free. At the end of the day, it's our time and your time, and we make sure to give you the best possible content for your learning time as well, right? So it adds a bit of value for you to subscribe, like, show us your support, and in this way we can grow alongside with you guys learning, and of course bringing you amazing content as well, right? That is step number 4. Step number 5 is programming challenges. Now guys, head to the comment section, tell me if you have heard of this website called as Kaggle. Kaggle, Kaggle. Now Kaggle is a fantastic place where you can find a ton of programming challenges. There's many other sites. There's this beautiful website called LeetCode, 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 right? These are places where you can challenge yourself to solve problems. The question will be something very similar, very simple, and something that you will know. If you have to answer it without a programming language, you will probably take 10 seconds to do it. But when you're asked to do it with a programming language, you will take 10 minutes to do it. That is the thing. You have to have that kind of an approach. Now, when you usually prepare for interviews, you have to learn these questions, what we call as tricky questions. Why is that? Why are interviewers wanting to know tricky questions from you, right? Especially as a learner, especially as a beginner, it is very, very important for you to know that the way you learn, to make it fun, to enjoy your learning, you have to find new challenges and you have to take up challenges, right? Now see, there's a lot of people in the comment section saying yes, that you know Kaggle. Now if you know Kaggle, HackerRank, LeetCode, whatever it is, you are familiar with the process, right? Now these sites will ensure that whatever you're learning, you can verify if you have learned it correctly or not. Challenge yourself, because if you're not challenging yourself, where will you know your limit, right? That's something I usually live by. That's a life principle. But same thing in step number 5, which I tell everyone. I get hundreds of people messaging me, asking me how you can get to learn Python, and I always say, hey, if you're not looking forward to difficult challenges and solving those, well, it is as good as not doing it, right? So make sure you're working on challenges, guys. It's a really important thing. Step number 6, I think, is what excites everyone, right? Preparing for your job, preparing for your first job in Python, learning all these interview questions, preparing for the interviews, enrolling into many technical learning platforms, all of these things. The most important thing here is with respect to job preparation, guys. We have 138 people. The biggest tip that I can give for all of you all in terms of job preparation is, I think you have to understand that there are people who are willing to hire wherever you are right now. See, this is COVID-19, this is a pandemic. I guess 99% of the people are working from home, learning from home, or something like that, right? You guys tell me. I bet there's a good chance you're tuning in from your home today. Now, when this is the case, you have to understand that even the companies who are working, they are also working at home. For example, if there's a company in the US, they only wanted to hire people in the US there. But now they realize, okay, since there is no coming to office, which is a hard requirement for many companies, why don't we start hiring international people, right? So companies in the US, company in Germany, companies across the world have opened up their borders. They're saying, hey, you know what, we're taking an international applicant. So you right now can sit and apply for a job in the USA, and if you have the skills and if your resume shows a good amount of potential, guess what, you'll get an interview, you'll get the job, right? This I don't think has happened a lot previously, because of course if you're applying for a different country, you usually have to be there, apply and all of that. But now the thing about these borders are coming down a little, where people realize no matter where you are across the world, you can be sitting in a coffee shop, you can finish your work, you can be on your bed while listening to music, you can finish your work, right? You can be doing doing something. Maybe you can take a meeting while you're doing a bit of exercise or something, right? You've seen a lot of these categories. It is possible. So know this. You right now, if you learn these programming languages or whatever it is that you want to learn, at the end of it, your job profile is open for the entire globe. That is a very important thing, guys. And of course, with all these steps, I am sure that all of you all might have followed until now. Let me quickly take a question or two and we can go on to start. Chirag says, most of the people saying that Python is not recommended for placement. No, Chirag, that I think it's a very wrong thing to say that Python is not recommended, because I'll show you what the average salaries is like in the next section. When you yourself look at it, you will be like, okay, I don't know why they said it the way they do, right? It depends on the company also. See, when way back when I was in engineering, also sometimes they used to say concentrate on Java, concentrate on C++ and all of these things. But I was always so interested to Python. I was like, if there is a company which is not using Python, I would not want to apply for it, because Python is what I would love to do, and that is a job that I want to get. So I was firm enough there. So I think that is what is going on here as well, right? Hasim Khan says there are fools who say Python is not recommended. Well, Hasim, let's not get into judgments. I am sure they might have their reasons. If the company is looking for Java, I don't think they would want to learn Python, right? Perfect. Yes, TIR Gaming, you are correct. All languages are important in their respective domains. And Vishal says, sir, how to choose a domain? Don't have any knowledge, little bit confused. Well, Vishal, that's a brilliant question. I'll tell you why. To find your first domain is like hunting for your favorite ice cream flavor. Now, this is something which I absolutely love telling all the time. When you tried your first ice cream in your life, probably you were a little kid, you wouldn't remember. But then now also, when you go to an ice cream shop, you're trying new flavors. Sometimes you like the flavor, sometimes you'll absolutely hate the flavor. Now, I know some people who love dark chocolate like there is no tomorrow. They will eat the most bitter dark chocolate and they'll be happy, right? Some other people will think it's too bitter, you cannot eat. But to get to that judgment saying, hey, should I do this? Should I not do this? What is the important criteria here? You have to try the ice cream, right? Exactly my same, the advice for you here is, before you find your favorite domain, try to do a bit of research in all the domains that you think are trending right now, right? Find what makes you interested. Find what gives you that happiness saying, hey, I want to have a career in this domain. You might have a favorite job. You might say, hey, I want to work in Google. I want to work in Facebook. I want to become software developer too at Facebook. Some people have this kind of a motivation saying, I want that designation at that company. In that case, you already have the motivation. You just have to find out and dig through 2 or 3 things, and then you will be on your way to do that, right? I hope that answers your question. But then I think the ice cream analogy is making us all hungry. It's a pretty hot day here in Bengaluru, right, guys? Anyway, coming back to quickly discuss all the popular Python packages out there, I think it is very, very important for all of you all to understand that there are a lot of packages in Python. To get started with, I think these are some fantastic packages. NumPy and Pandas, these are used for data manipulation and mathematical operation and statistical computation, all of these things. So they provide data structures for you to use, for you to organize your data really well, to mess around with it and use it. Now, if you're a person who's getting into data science with respect to Python programming, NumPy and Pandas, you should know. There is nothing that says, I don't know NumPy and Pandas, can I become a data scientist? Yes, you can. But once you call yourself a data scientist, I think it is vital that you have to have this in your arsenal, right? Perfect. And then again, if you're talking more about, let us increase the domain a little bit, right? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, all of these concepts. Again, there's fantastic libraries. TensorFlow is basically by the people at Google. Then you have PyTorch is a library by the developers at Facebook. And then you have scikit-learn, which is extremely popular for machine learning. So all of these libraries are put into places for a reason, right? So when you think about PyTorch, the programmers at Facebook themselves said, we require a library to work easily with our own Facebook software. So to develop Facebook, they used something called as Torch, and Torch being combined with Python became to be known as PyTorch. That's a fantastic library for deep learning and all of that. I've used it for a while, 2-3 years ago. It's really nice to learn. TensorFlow, of course. If someone's talking data science, it will start with TensorFlow. Someone will talk about tensors, TPUs, GPUs and all of that. If it's a really funny thing, but then yes, that is what happens, guys. But then there's a reason for all of this, right? There's a reason why people say you have to learn this. And I think you guys should definitely concentrate on this, right? Perfect. Now, to talk about the next two things, usually when you think about data visualization, right, be it business intelligence, be it dashboarding, be it just creating graphs from data, simple. You have an Excel workbook, you want to create beautiful looking graphs, you will be using a library, something like Matplotlib or Seaborn. Seaborn is actually an extension of Matplotlib, which will just give you more features out of it. But even though these two libraries are really easy to learn, they're fun to learn. You can just put different colored graphs, you can have different types of graphs and all of that. At the end of the day, you will realize that even though it is simple, it is extremely important in today's world. You will not realize how important a graph is until you see an Excel sheet which has probably 10,000 rows and 1,000 columns. You will then realize, oh, okay, so this is why a graph is important, right? It is very simple. It will feel deceptive. It will feel like, meh, this is nothing. Yes, even though it feels very easy to learn, the amount of impact it has in today's world is beautiful. That's why I love these two libraries, Matplotlib and Seaborn. This is again very commonly asked in Python interviews as well. Right, guys, now we are going to talk about a fantastic thing, Python developers salary. Now I'm sure you guys are all curious to learn about Python developers salary, right? So guys, before we go on to the salary, I'll take a question or two. Put down your questions. In the meantime, I've been speaking for 50 minutes, so I need a drink of water. Okay, perfect. Oh, I have a question. I have an interesting question from Akash. I am not into IT industry. Can I learn? Akash, as I told you, Python is not only used in the IT industry, it is used in a lot of other industries as well. Healthcare was something we brought up at the start of the session. So Python sees its usage everywhere across the globe, right? Now, for example, if you're a person who's interested to use Netflix, if you understand how Netflix uses Python, you will be interested to learn Python, right? That's an approach that you should take whenever you are learning a programming language. So yes, even if you're not, even if you're not feeling the IT industry, I definitely think you should learn to see what other things you can do apart from IT, right? Now, how do you think all these startup companies become really popular? They're doing something very different from everyone else. Maybe, you Akash can have this kind of a thought process, use Python for a different thing compared to what the IT world is doing, and guess what, you might have a multi-million or a $1 billion application on your hand right now, right? I will never say it is impossible, because everything is possible if you guys are keen to learn, right? Rajiv has another question. Is Python used in robotics and AI? Yes, Python. When you think about artificial intelligence, I think Python has to be again the number one programming language that sits there, right? I am a subject matter expert in artificial intelligence, so working on multiple things, especially the concepts of neural networks, getting your computers to become intelligent, playing games on their own, recognizing images, making your computers talk, chatbots and all of that. Again, in the world of AI itself, Python is number one. Python is king or queen, right? So I'll just say that. Perfect. Now guys, to talk about the actual salary, take a look at the numbers on your screen right now. For an associate Python developer, as in a person who will be beginning his or her career, you can expect an average salary of somewhere around 6 lakhs per annum in India and $66,000 in the USA. Now, this number is not like one hardcore number that says you will only get this much. I know associate Python developers who have an average salary of 12 and 13 lakhs per annum. Right now, this depends on how skilled you are. This depends on how much of a passion you show towards programming. See, programming in the long term is more about how passionate you are to solve problems rather than how well you can do it, right? You have to like the things that you do, only then you will do it really nicely, right? So with respect to an associate Python developer, the salary is amazing, but with 1 or 2 years of experience, or if you're switching your career, the average salaries are even more fantastic. In the US, it's somewhere around $100,000. In the USA, it starts at 10 lakhs per annum, goes all the way to 16, 17, 18, and I've seen 20 lakhs per annum as well for a senior Python developer. Just 1 or 2 years of experience, you can get there. Companies are hiring, and as a lead project developer, I think 20 is like the starting 20 lakhs per annum is like the starting salary, because I have friends who are lead project developers who make 40, 50 lakhs per annum just because they're extremely good at solving problems, right? In the US, again, it starts somewhere around $115,000, goes all the way to $170,000, $180,000 for an expert in a programming language, right? Now, guys, a common question that I usually get when we go on to discuss salaries is, oh, but then the jobs are only paying 3 lakhs per annum, the jobs are only paying 4 lakhs per annum, what do we do? Now, take a look at a job which is probably paying a lot more than that, 11, 12, 13 lakhs per annum. Just look at your skills and see if they align with exactly what is required. There is usually a good chance that they're paying 13 lakhs per annum because they're looking for an important skill, and you may or may not have that skill. I'm not saying you do not. There is a good chance you might not, but then if you do learn that skills, you are opening up your profile right from these 4 or 5 LPA jobs all the way to 12 LPA jobs, right? They're not asking you to do anything magical. They're just asking you to learn one or two different libraries. They're trying to say, hey, if you're good at this, we definitely want you to come in, right? At the end of the day, hey, that's how you get into these big companies. Like, for example, you go onto LinkedIn, you'll be really happy to see people are getting amazing jobs right now, right? I am sure you've seen this, guys. LinkedIn is a fantastic place to be, right? If you usually go there, you'll constantly be seeing these messages where you have to congratulate somebody for getting a new job, and look at just try to analyze and glance at the jobs and just see that the entire world is coming back from the COVID-19 pandemic. Everyone is hiring again, and it shows how strong this domain is, right? With this, guys, again, I have to I just take 1 second of your time, because here, with respect to Python specialization, I want to guide you all about these specialization programmings we have here at Great Learning, guys. Now, I'll just give you one example of one particular program. You can, of course, depending on what it is that you guys want to learn, you can take a look at it. For example, if you're taking a look at the post-graduation program in data science and business analytics, right, you will see that Python is an important part of this. This is India's #1 data science program. This curriculum is designed to make sure you know the in and out of data science and business analytics. You get 1:1 mentorship. I can give you probably 100 different amazing reasons of why you should consider this, but then at the end of the day, hey, we are doing this in collaboration with the University of Texas at Austin. You get 2 certificates, and of course UTA is ranked #6 in business analytics in the entire world, right? So it is a comprehensive curriculum. You will learn everything. Of course, we're talking about data science. Data science is an aspect of Python, but at the end of the day, look at the languages and tools that you're covering. All of these are really, really important. You'll be learning Python, R programming language, guys. Do you know R programming language? It is a fantastic programming language for data analysis. Tableau and all the other programming. SQL is very good for, of course, working with the database. Tableau is an amazing business intelligence tool. You have Power BI as well. You can take a look at all the capstone projects you'll work. For example, you'll be working with the data sets of Uber, Netflix, Amazon. So these are real life problems that you will be solving as a person. So there are many things, guys. You'll be learning from the best of the best faculties out there right now. These guys are senior academicians. They are the top practitioners in today's world in the domain. And of course, you have mentors, you have the Great Learning Advantage. You have a lot of different things that you'll find out, guys. You'll find more details about this if you head to the website and check out these PG programs. There's multiple programs that I definitely think you guys should check out, and at the end of it, you have a place where you can just put in your name, email, and your mobile number, years of experience, and all of that, and someone from our team is going to give you a call to just see what program works best for your learning and all of that. Again, guys, this career advice that you're getting here, again, is an important thing. It's free of cost. We don't charge you for a call to give you advice. There's an application process, because this is a program where we get hundreds of people applying, so we have to again make sure we roll out the offer letter to the few candidates who get selected. So again, there's a process that you guys have to check out. But then at the end of the day, my point here is, guys, if you are looking towards becoming an expert in not just Python, any other domain, it will always add value to get started with free programs which will eventually give you the basic functioning knowledge of the domain. But then to go from intermediate level all the way to becoming a thorough advanced person who has the capability to get 10, 20, 30 lakh per annum jobs because of the skills, then I highly think that you guys should venture into all of these, right? So guys, with this, we have come to the end of the session. Let me quickly take a few questions and we can wind this up, right? Momin says, bye, Hindi bhi bolo. Well, Momin, this is a session which is in the English language. Do not worry, we're going to have very similar, sessions in Hindi as well. For sure, your request has been put together for the concerned team. Amir has an amazing question. Sir, please mention about internships related to AI ML DS areas. Well, at the end of the day, Amir, I think you can answer your own question really well, because if the job opportunities themselves are as amazing as we spoke about, think about the internship opportunities, which is a stepping stone to get to that job, right? Of course, it's directly proportional. So the number of internships that we have in AI ML and the data science domain today is at its highest ever, right? So I think that answers your question. Inara Manzil says, do Great Learning have free course access for data science or Python? Of course, Inara, we do have a course in Great Learning Academy that I think you definitely should check out. So head to Great Learning Academy and you can get started there, right? Kashyap answered your question, Inara. Thank you so much, Kashyap, for that. Okay. Akash has a question. Will you help in placement and what is your success rate? Of course, Akash, there's going to be some placement assistance. You're going to get all these complete details about this on the actual website of the program that you're looking for. Make sure you check out that website. Now, at the end of the day, if I have to tell you about success rates and all of that, I think, we are an industry who always concentrates, we're in an industry where providing you the highest quality of learning material is the most important thing. And we believe we are doing that. We have a very good amount of success rate, and I think all of these details, all of these numbers, someone from our career guidance team can give you all the details that you require, right? So I showed you on that website where you have a place to put in your name and your phone number. Do put down your details, say that you joined in from this live session, and I definitely think sitting with a career expert to talk about what and how you should take things ahead is something which is very important for you all, right? So guys, I'll pick up one more question. Okay, Rajiv has a good question. Rajiv Chakraborty, he says, what are the top jobs in which Python is needed? Rajiv, I think Python itself is required in a lot of domains: data analysis, data science, data visualization, web development, front-end development, user experience development, game development, big data analysis, data engineering. So you can think about a million different domains: healthcare, entertainment industry, automobile industry, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science. I just named 12 or 13 just within a minute, right? So there are so many places where Python jobs are available. In fact, as a standalone programming language, Python is the only language that is far spread enough to be in every industry you can think of. If you ever wonder how cars are getting smarter, I think there's a bit of Python there as well. If you're wondering about what is happening to the self-driving cars in today's world, Tesla has this autopilot feature, right? Really fancy feature I love. There again, it is using multiple algorithms back to back to understand what's happening, and it's using an AI entity to drive the car around. That's why it's called autopilot. Same things when you're flying on the plane as well, right? Now, even simple things, IoT and home automation. Every time you say, hey Alexa, block my calendar from 12 p.m. because of a meeting or something like that, or you say, hey Alexa, put an alarm for tomorrow 6 a.m., something like that, right? All these simple things which you're used to every day, there is a Python developer sitting in the background who's coding all of these, right? Now, if you are that person who's adding value to those amazing things we use every day, well, again, you can think about it, right? It's a very popular domain to be working in. Right, guys, perfect. So I hope I was able to answer all of your questions. Thank you so much for tuning into this particular session, live session here at Great Learning. Make sure you guys are checking out Great Learning Academy. We have fantastic courses, 200 plus courses, free of cost, that you guys can learn for free, get a certificate of completion absolutely free of well. And ladies and gentlemen, since we have 120, 130 people, if you did like the session, do show your support by taking a second to hit that like button, and of course subscribe to the Great Learning YouTube channel for more of these content. As always, you guys are a really fun audience to teach. It's absolutely my pleasure to be joining you all and teaching you all all of these concepts, right? So guys, make sure you're staying safe from the ongoing pandemic. Make sure you're wearing masks, make sure social distancing is maintained, and of course with this, I am more than excited to see you guys on our next video, right? Stay safe and cheers, guys. See you.